They say trust is fragile, but what I learned shattered not just my trust, it fractured my very soul. A truth so heavy it settled deep inside me, turning love into an unrecognizable shadow. I once claimed cheating wasn't a big deal. I thought I could look past it, that love could heal any wound no matter how jagged. But then I did something no one ever expects. Something so devastating that it twisted my world upside down and left me gasping for air in the ruins. If you want to hear the full story of betrayal, regret, unbearable heartache, and a devastating truth no one saw coming, make sure to subscribe now. Trust me, you won't forget this. We looked perfect on paper. 10 years married, two beautiful kids who were the light of my life, a cozy home in a quiet neighborhood, and seemingly nothing missing from our lives. He was my rock, my safe harbor amid the storms that life threw our way. His steady hands held our family together. His laughter was the soundtrack of our evenings. I loved him deeply, maybe too deeply to even recognize the cracks that were slowly forming beneath our facade. Inside me, though, a quiet storm was brewing. I can't fully explain it. Even now, it feels like a fractured part of myself that those around me never saw. Unlike many, I never believed cheating was the ultimate sin, not in isolation. Humans are complex and flawed, I told myself. We make mistakes, sometimes reckless, sometimes unforgivable, but I believed that love and honest intentions could weather the worst storms. Maybe I was naive, or maybe I was pretending. So when temptation first knocked at the door, I told myself it was just a fleeting distraction, a momentary lapse, something I could handle alone without ruining everything. I met him in the hushed corners of late-night work meetings, a colleague with a magnetic smile and eyes that whispered promises of excitement, something different from my routine life. I convinced myself cheating wasn't a big deal if it remained a secret, a locked box I could shut tight. The lies started small, harmless, I thought. A text hidden here, a whispered excuse there. I told myself these lies were just the price of a little freedom, a stolen moment in the monotony. But lies grow like wild vines, snaking into every part of your life, choking the light out of the places you least expect. I wrapped myself deeper in denial, telling friends with a hollow laugh, it's not the end of the world. People slip, it's human. But then, everything came crashing down. One ordinary evening, the kind you mistake for any other, he came home early. The house was too quiet, the kind of silence that presses heavier than noise. When he opened the door to the guest room, my world shattered, the scent of another woman's perfume and a jacket not mine hanging carelessly over a chair. My breath caught in my throat. The weight of his stare felt like glass shards against my skin. He didn't yell or cry out, no, his silence was more brutal. It was the thick, suffocating quiet of disbelief, of a heart fracturing in slow motion. Why? His voice, raw and broken, sliced through the silence, filling the space between us with a pain I couldn't escape. I searched for an answer, any answer that could stitch the shattered pieces of our life back together. But there was none. Just a heavy silence and the deafening sound of my regrets. That moment marked the end of everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and forgiveness. The days that followed were an agonizing blur. I begged for mercy, for understanding, as he retreated into himself, walling off emotions I'd once believed were invincible. The anger, the sorrow, the endless questions twisted between us like a tangled web. He finally spoke, his voice hollow but steady. He had known. The signs, the cold distance, the little white lies, they didn't fool him. He had carried the burden silently, his pain locked behind a composed mask. The betrayal wasn't just mine. It had been slowly poisoning the roots of our marriage for years. Nights became the cruelest enemy. Lying beside him, I felt more alone than ever. Shadows of guilt crawled along the walls, whispering with every tick of the clock how deeply I had failed him, my family, and myself. The betrayal is never just one moment. It's a fracture that spreads, infecting every room, every memory shared, every future imagined. I looked at our children that night, sleeping peacefully, blissfully unaware of the storm raging in their mother's heart. The greatest betrayal wasn't just breaking my husband's trust, it was nearly breaking the foundation of our family. Desperation clawed at me. I sought forgiveness, not only from him but from myself. But some wounds carved so deeply are not mended by words alone. Some mistakes echo endlessly in the corridors of broken hearts. And then the day came, the day I dreaded more than anything. He packed his bags quietly, his eyes cold and resolute. Without a word, he took our children in his arms and walked out the door, leaving behind a silence heavier than any storm. The house felt empty in an instant, the laughter gone, the warmth extinguished. I stood there, watching the door close behind him, the echo of footsteps a haunting reminder of what I'd lost. The family I once knew was gone, taken away by the very betrayal I had brought upon us. The hardest truth I had to face was that love, no matter how fierce or pure, sometimes isn't enough to heal betrayals that cut what feels like to the bone. I had to live with the knowledge that my choices had torn apart not just a marriage, but the life and happiness of the people I loved most. Rebuilding will take more than time. It will take courage, humility, and the painful acceptance that some chapters don't close neatly. They leave scars that might never fully fade. If there's one lesson in this story, it's this: never underestimate what a single moment of weakness can cost you. The choices we make in the shadows have the power to destroy everything we cherish. And sometimes, the hardest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more stories that reveal the shadows behind the smiles. Because sometimes, the darkest betrayals come from the hearts we thought we knew best, our own.